I found that right about now is when actually it is really is reporting. I guess we could wait. Let's see. My browser should pop up. Oh, YouTube. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, this test is being live streamed, guys. Hey everybody. We got Danny, we got the Real Blonde Broker, we've got the Great Mass Speed, the Tesla Tracker, and this insignificant cat here. So I'm happy to have this arrangement. So everybody please say hi to and we're gonna start with the blonde broker, obviously, but everybody go for it.
Hello,
Hello,
everybody.
everybody.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning on this happy Labor Day.
Yes, good morning, good
Happy
evening,
Labor Day.
depending on where you're from. Welcome. We're gonna start with the Real Blonde Broker. If you want to pull up your chart, and we're gonna start talking about the markets first, and then kind of rotate around, and then we're gonna maybe focus more on Tesla and NVIDIA, and then we're gonna end the show after that. So,
Great. So can everybody see this chart? Is it streaming? Going?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is what I'm watching on the SPX is we had this gap down here, which we touched but did not fill and had a nice bounce straight from there. And now we are filling this gap and inside of it and above it now. So what it looked like to me is basically a fourth wave triangle where you get like your A, B, C, D, E, and then you bounce and you go out. And so that is what appears to be happening on SPX. What I am expecting this week is something where maybe we come back and we test the support or we test the trend line or we test, the bottom of the gap and then continue up. So maybe it's like this is a wave one up and then we get a minor two pullback and then we bounce for a all-time high towards 5,700 where you'd get your 3, 4, 5 type of count. So something like, if this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. I don't know if, these values are exactly right, but I think, and I'm hoping that we'll see 5,700 either by September 6th or the 9th, maybe into the Apple event or into the end of this week. We have some pretty strong earnings coming up. We've got Broadcom. We've got the end of earnings. We've got a lot of data this week too that's going to be pretty crucial. So this is what I'm hoping to see is that, we've had this choppy consolidation and we break out. Now, if we start to lose this trend line, then I'm going to have to greatly change what I'm looking at. But as long as this market continues to defend 5,600, 5,620, then I'm bullish. So that's my take on SPX. What about you guys?
I mean, without looking at any indicators, just looking at the structure, it looks like it's really trying to break above resistance. Like it just keeps on challenging that area. So I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys have anything
Yeah,
specific.
like the 4 hour chart especially just keeps bumping up like in that resistance area so many times. So maybe Monday or Tuesday could be the day.
Yeah, and I'm like
Yeah.
gonna look
Let's
up what the data is too. Let's see here. Yeah, we have JOLTS, we have ADP and jobless claims, we have NFP on Friday, so that's going to be a really big day. So, if NFP comes in strong, then this chart should play out. But right now, I'm just seeing a lot of support in this 56, above 5610, 5600, 5610 area. So as long as that is defended, then I'm bullish. And I have, anywhere from 5690 to 5740. So we'll kind of see if that can play out.
I definitely agree with your structural analysis there. Like that's the April, I'm sorry, that's the August 5th low there, the lowest point on this chart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
This is
it's like,
August 5th.
and then so the little bit of yellow there that goes from the wave start, there's your 1, 2,
Yeah, 1,
and
2,
you finished out the wave 3. And so you've heard of the theory of
3
alternation
here, 4, and this would be your 5th wave.
in Elliott waves. If the wave 2 is really sharp and short, like we have here, then the wave 4 is extended, and that's exactly what it looks like. It's like an extended wave 4 that has really been noisy and bouncing around and taking everyone for a ride. And yeah, and so 5 waves out of that into the wave 5 up. That does look. I agree with you on that. That viewpoint, and the whole thing kind of feels like a larger degree wave 4. But sometimes I look at these. I've been looking at 3s and 4s lately and giving them the opportunity to morph into a much larger degree 1, 2 sometimes. So, maybe that sharp August 5th low is actually like a larger degree 2. And then so I'll throw up some Elliott wave to see what it would look like if it was going to go to extend to a 6 weight or 732. I'm sorry, 76 from there. Here, let's see. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'll
stop sharing then. You can share your screen.
Let's see. Here, let's see. SP. All right, so we do the SPY here, and this is just a clean chart, nothing on here. Here it is, a daily chart. There's August 5th right there. And I'm just used to logarithmic charts. I think are best for long-term charting. These linear charts are what I'm used to working with because I'm always working with people that are doing, they're trading in tight ranges like real bond broker works with day traders and swing traders and whatnot. So like this kind of looks like this is one way I would look at it as one market structure. And sort of eyeballing it. And then so if you want to put Fibonacci extensions on it and really test it out, I'll just start here in 2016 because that kind of looks, it gets not significantly, it just gets smaller and smaller and farther away. Actually, maybe I should do it from back here. But, as time goes on, these prices become less and less significant. So it's fun to do a large degree chart from just nothing. Yeah. Go back here, then call this the 1, 2. And then this wave 3, it didn't quite get higher than the 100%, but didn't really get to the 1, 2, 3, 6 either. Pulls back to the 618. It's kind of like a 1.1, 1.2, 618. And then this really just does feel like a this 3, 4 is really like a 1, 2. And then so we're still in the larger degree wave 3. So this could just be the 4 of the third wave. Third, that's the 4th, and then that's the 5th. And in fact, I do have SPY chart right here where I just said, well, let's start my wave start down here at the pandemic low. No, I'm sorry, that pandemic low is over here. I've got the 1, 2 right here, October 2nd in 2023. And then I'm calling this this is like a wave 4 that we just had, this August 5th low. Is like a sharper, like you read a longer wave 2 and a shorter wave 4. And I'm projecting, this is sort of funny. I took this pattern right here from where we did have the pandemic low, the sharp crash, and then a quick, almost a V-shaped recovery. Some might call it the K-shaped recovery. And I just said, well, what if I take the same pattern and copy it and then drop it right here on this August 5th crash. And so this little bit of gray here is that same wave. And I'm kept the ratio heights the same from where it was before the pandemic crash to the crash and then the recovery. And so right here, just before we had the August 5th crash, is what we had before the pandemic crash, how far the pandemic went down, and then how far it extended. And it kind of gave me this little bit more than 100. Like before, over this chart I was just drawing, it was like about 110%. This is exactly 106%. And then pulls back into a longer waiver 4. And this 106% extends to 6280. So I'm kind of looking for this SPX go to 6280 for all this wave 5 up, and then a larger degree 4. And I kind of pull it way up. So this like might be a long, painful time. Probably after, I guess it's going to take longer. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. And then we'll just have to see what happens after we hit that peak there. Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. And then, you know, the larger degree wave 5 goes up to 7,741. So
I like how the description says a world of hurt. Long.
yeah, because it's just because
world of hurt.
it's going to feel so long and painful, right? Unless it's sharp, unless it's really sharp, it's going to feel like the biggest bear market ever, right? For this little bit of time. And it may not happen this way, but this is kind of like what Ellioticians would, you know, try to come up with. And then you can see the wave 4 here ends up 1 fibs distance over where we had the January 20 or November 20. No, it was January 2022 high. And then see, remember how awful 2023 was? It'll feel like that again after we get this maybe 2026 high into 2027, 2028.
See, I think 2025 could be the bad year. I'm like leaning in
Really?
towards highs towards the end of this year, you know, like January. So I actually think that 2024 to 2025 could be more of the pullback year. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but that's more where I'm leaning, is that, you know, we come down into next year.
Is there anything on the higher time frame chart that you're seeing that, you know, kind of lets you to feel that way? You know, I understand that there's a lot of like macro fears, you know, things like that, but I'm just wondering if there's anything on the higher
I'm
time.
looking at Wyckoff, and
Yeah.
this, you know, is definitely going into, you know, phase E, UTAD. We've been in it for a while, and I just have certain fibs that are standing out to me and patterns. So I just feel like come January, we see some sort of pullback. And, you know, it's hard to know because, I mean, we're in August and, you know, we're all trying to figure this out. But it just seems to me that maybe the way they've been measuring CPI or measuring inflation, or, you know, something happens with the Fed rates, it just seems to me like something is coming next year. And you know, my charts are kind of showing the exhaustion. We've been pushing incredibly hard this year.
Do you mind showing those kinds of things that you're talking about, like the Wyckoff and the exhaustion? Do you mind showing that?
I don't have them right now,
That's
but
okay.
you know, like if you pull up a long-term Wyckoff, you'll see more what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't have it right now to show, but it just seems like if we get this big 5th wave push, you know, I agree there's a 4th wave coming down. I just think the timing, I'm just a little different on the timing, I suppose.
How far do you see it going down, RBB?
I would have to, like I said, find that chart, and it's on a different software that I'm using. But let's see. Maybe Danny can talk while I'm pondering this and looking at this.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
I need a helping hand from Matthew.
Yeah, I can pull up his charts and Danny
Yes,
can talk about
please.
it. That's so.
I just want to show you real quick. I just did
Yeah, go
pulled this
ahead.
up to these are year candles. They're 12-month candles, and I just like went way back and I just pulled a channel on a logarithmic chart for the SPY, and you can see, you know, the market probably really started to shift in the 1960s as far as how monetary policy went, but even back to, you know, the big crash of let's see, I guess it's 1933 right here. And we've just been in this channel, logarithmic channel, keeps going up. And
I don't think you're showing a chart tracker.
oh, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, sorry. I stopped showing for a second to show you guys, or to let. There. How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the same chart. I just changed it from linear scale to logarithmic scale. I just pulled a channel, and so here from the great, you know, the Great Depression, the big crash, 1933. We've just been in this really easy to read tight channel. So nothing that I'm projecting here really leaves that channel much. In fact, we're kind of trending up to the top half of this channel ever since the pandemic. The pandemic's kept us in the top part of this channel. There's some Bollinger Bands. And like RBCB says, we're sort of aggressively pushing along the top of what's possible, right? Here's the Bollinger Band for that. But yeah, if you want to show Danny's chart, or Matt wants to show his Gann chart.
I'll show mine after Danny talks about
Okay.
his, but let me pull up his SPY. You want to start on the daily chart, Danny? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Let me share screen.
That's really fascinating to me that RBB is looking at the beginning of 2025 to be the top of the cycle, and I'm looking for the beginning of 2025 to be a spike up, followed by some more support testing, but I'm looking for even more growth in 2025.
All right, Danny. So here's your chart. We got it pulled up here. So SPY daily chart. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just sum up what Rebecca has mentioned. She leans a little bit bullish for SP 500 or SPY in the coming week. And my daily chart has aligned with what she thinks because of the last red candle. So can you just help me to point or highlight the last daily red candle in panel 1? So there are two levels which I would like to specify for this bullish red candle to play out successfully. First of all, a daily close above 564.2 is necessary for the uptrend to keep up. And for invalidation, so if a daily close below 557.14, then the downtrend we start. So these are the two levels which I have to keep an eye on. And if you take a look at panel 2, I find the momentum has been sort of strengthening because of the red bar. There's a shift from the green bar to red bar, which is an indication of the bearish to bullish sentiment. And panel 4, panel 5, all these technical indicators also align with the red candle. So I think in the coming week, so probably if we can see a daily close about 0.2, I think the trend is going to be bullish. So I totally agree with what RBB has just mentioned.
All right. So weekly chart.
Okay. So on the weekly chart, also you will find that the red candle actually appeared 3 weeks ago, yes, and still the red candle has been enforced. So the dark blue candles just mean the continuation of the bullish trend. So everything looks fine from panel 2, panel 3. So we find very strong well accumulation. So can we just highlight the percentage? Yeah, that's 79.8, which is a very strong number.
And no retail.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So thanks for pointing out this. And for any store or any index to rise, we can't see any. We shouldn't. So we shouldn't see any retail, or in other words, we should not see any green bar in panel 3. So actually, somewhere in the middle, you find the green bar in panel 3. And if you just try to draw a vertical line, you will find that when you see green bar, so probably that stock is in the downtrend. So once the green bar disappears, so things are going up very fast. So the red candle on the weekly chart and also the red candle on the daily chart, so they give me some clues that probably or most likely SPY is going to perform well. And one more thing, okay, if you take a look at panel 4 on my weekly chart, I can see that MACD is on the verge of a golden cross, but not yet complete. So what do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, that red candle on the daily and the weekly
On the
last
weekly.
week, it's, yeah, daily and weekly. Yeah, it's very, 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 very good for a short-term
Yeah,
continuation.
it's kind of a good signal to us. And based on the historical trend, you will find that every time the red candle appears, the bullish trend continues for weeks, for a few weeks or a few months.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
the Dow Jones just broke out into all-time highs last month and last week, and I think the SPY could follow. I mean, I'm always more cautious at resistance, but like based off a lot of indicators and with your confluence here, I think it has a really good possibility to close at all-time highs next week.
From you guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, we can go to the monthly chart next if you want to see it.
Yeah,
talk about
sure.
it. Yeah.
See it. Let's see it.
No red candle yet, but there was one here. Yeah.
If we see the yellow candle on the monthly chart, we have to run.
Yeah, but
So,
no.
And if you take a look at the last, so let me highlight the dates because you can't see the exact dates, but I can tell. If you check out the last yellow candle in panel 1, that would be February 2022. So probably that would be the start of the downtrend 2 years ago. And the next, I mean the second last yellow candle, that would be what COVID took place. So February 2020. So once we see the yellow candle on the monthly chart of SPY, I think all of us have to exit, you know, or at least we have to trim our positions.
Yeah, but so far it just looks like strength.
Yeah, so far so good, and I particularly like the red ribbon in panel 1 because it's still developing, it's still unfolding.
Yeah.
And this has a night with a steady increase in wealth accumulation in panel 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I like the aligning of all panels.
Yeah, and everything is still trending up. on
Yeah,
panel 4,
everything is
panel
up,
5.
actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
So
I don't need to elaborate, because if you check out every panel, monthly candle is up, and second panel, the momentum indicator is up. Panel 3, well accumulation, steady increase. Panel 4, RSI, and panel 5, sorry, panel 4 MACD, panel 5 RSI, everything is up. Yeah.
yeah, it looks really fantastic.
From looking at your monthly chart too, I might just say I look at the COVID as the beginning of a new cycle. Like that's a sharp corrective wave that ended a fifth wave top, and so
Yeah.
there's your ABC correction, and then
Yes.
the pandemic is simply a 1-2. I'm sorry,
Yeah, and I think panel 1, I try to include the yellow line, and probably that I can say that this is the idiot's wave, but it sort of gives us a feeling that the monthly candle has been making higher high and higher low, and also you will find such a bullish trend from back from 2018 to 2024.
yeah, so I'm sorry. I want to say, if you look at the 3 yellow candles on Danny's first panel chart, the very first candle is like what? That's like the 2008 financial crisis, and then you have
Exactly. Yeah, the first yellow
pandemic.
candle, 2018.
That was the
December.
wave. So
That's 2018 tracker. Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. So the 2017 is like a wave 4, and then the pandemic just before, that's your wave 5 top, and then an ABC correction with 2 big deep blue candles, and then at the beginning of the pandemic is where I now start a brand new wave start, and so the next yellow candle is a longer 1-2. So it's like all of 2023 was just a longer, extended, wider flat of a wave 2, and we're just starting the strongest part of the wave 3 now. Is the way I look at it.
So Danny, in the future, I just want you to put yellow candle, copy me on it, and post that. That's all I care about. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll know
Yellow.
what it means.
We'll all run for the hills. Yeah.
Yeah, you just tell me. Or red candle. I'll know
Yeah.
yellow,
Red
and I'll know
candle.
red. And just
Yeah.
like tag me on the post, and I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah, just write one
That's what
word. You don't
people
even need a chart. Just write
That's
I
one
know,
what
word.
yeah,
love Danny's
yeah.
chart,
Just yellow, tag blonde broker. I'm there. Good.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think everyone would just go to Danny's
when red
page.
candle comes up.
Yeah, you let me know.
If you made your pinned post, like what the status of the daily, weekly, monthly candle was as your pinned post, like everyone would just check your profile every day. What candle Danny's got holding up.
Yeah, I don't need the blues. I'm good on the blues. But if you see that yellow or red, I want to be notified. That's all.
Heck yeah.
Matt, you wanted to show yours? I actually want to talk a few. Initially, I said I wasn't going to show any charts, but
Yeah.
to show some. But Matt, yeah, feel free to go for it.
Yeah, so you guys can see mine now, yeah? Yeah. So I'm just going to show the log scale version first and just show you guys how like symmetrical it's really been throughout time, especially that blue angle. And like that COVID crash was just a retest of that angle, right? And now it's like just floating above things. So I think the trajectory could continue all the way up to the blue line, because you can see the orange level was a perfect like breakout back test, right? So I think it'll eventually gravitate towards that 775 level. And even when you put on like the log based fibs up here, you can kind of see where it wants to gravitate to next, especially since the 1.272 fib has already held as a support, was a resistance, right? Now it's a support. I think at least maybe this year is probably going to get up to like 586 before maybe correcting a little bit. And then after that, it'll probably just break out towards that blue level once it breaks that 586 to flip it to a support. But I think the short term, what we're going to see is, well, especially right here, Kat, do you see that katana on the 4-hour chart here? Yeah.
Nice.
Look at that katana on the 4-hour chart. So I think what we're going to see is probably a continuation to the upside, and probably this might be the week that it does break out into all-time highs and break out above that, what was that? The 565.16. So we'll see. But I'm usually more cautious at resistance, but there's so many things going on right now that I think it really has a potential to break out just because of the Dow already did it and everything that Danny just showed and what RBB was talking about too. And this Ichimoku is just looking like it wants to keep going as well. So lots of confluence there for continuation higher. And I do like the setup for everything really right now. But
I
that's
just
all.
want to remind from my little SPX chart that using the pandemic as the start of my wave start, my wave 3 tops out at 6280 for that 106.18%, which, you know, otherwise the 100% would level be 6118. And then my 5th wave tops out at 7,741, which is very close to Matt's blue horizontal line.
Oh, the one up top here?
Yeah, the one up top that you're showing your log scale chart.
The 772, 775, that one.
Yep, I got
Yeah.
7741.68
Yeah, that's a
Or-
lot of confluence there.
or
But I
1618.
but I'm kind of in agreement with RBB. Like I think it's going to keep going up, and I think it's going to get to that 586 probably by the end of the year, maybe a little bit wick above, but there could be some correction after that. Maybe even go back and retest the 550. So I think that would be the possibility for then things to find a new low and or a new bottom, a new higher low, I should say, and then continue up to that 2.272 at 724 and probably go above. And that could be the whole cycle top by, I don't know, in a couple of years, I think, possibly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
A
I
very
agree with that.
yeah.
a kind wave 4 pullback would be to the 76.4% for 5,498. But then the one I'm looking at is like unkind, and that's the one that goes to 5,114,
Okay.
the 618 retrace.
Yeah.
So do you mind if I share my chart again?
Yeah,
Are
Yeah,
please.
go
you
ahead.
are you done, Matt? Or are you
Yeah,
still
I'm
going?
totally done. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, okay. So not to like ruin this bull party, but it is September. And I think what they're doing is they're kind of burning the shorts that, you know, went early on the September weakness. And I really do think like we'll get this push up and then we'll pull back into September, October, and maybe go back to this gap down here. So, you know, from here, you do something like this, you know, back down to here into the September, October weakness. And then we get, you know, the push into the end of the year. So even though I'm bullish for the next week, that can change. And, you know, ignore these dates down here because, you know, this is going to happen on a much longer time frame. So, you know, it'd be more like this.
Maybe we'll
And
see an
this goes
August
into
5th aftershock.
Yeah, where, you know, it kind of almost will look like maybe it's creating head and shoulders, and we get a head and shoulder push down retest to this gap,
What
and then
what
we
number
go
is that,
again.
RBB? Is that 5.4? I can't really see.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
that's the one you just kind of said. It's the
yeah.
5500 to like 5440, 50,
Y-
well, let's see.
Yeah.
5460.
Yeah,
5460.
that kind of lines up with the 1.414 fib that I was talking about on log scale, like
Yeah.
549. Yeah,
So
so
I think, you know, they're going to burn those shorts early, you know, everybody that was like so bearish. And I know so many people that were shocked to see that move on Friday and really were positioned for
yeah.
a downturn and got wiped out pretty quickly. So I think, you know, we get this nice move up, but I do think there still is some weakness coming into, you know, mid-September, early October, and then it's a buy the dip and get ready to go into
Yeah.
the kind of end of year type scenario.
But I can see it go up to like the 580s first before the 540s. Do you see that as well, or do you just see
It
maybe
could.
stopping? Yeah.
It could. I'm still debating. I
Yeah.
honestly, Matt, I don't know where it's going to stop. You know, whether this
Yeah.
is like a really nice 1, 2, and then we get our 3, 4, 5 into the end of the year. I'm still evaluating that. I just wanted to make sure that even though I'm bullish and, you know, we see where this goes, I still think there is going to be some September or October weakness in the markets. I just, you know, playing it day by day, and I continue to follow trend, you know, and that's what I always tell my followers, because they get really antsy watching some of these accounts that are like, we're going to 2200. We're not going to 2200 for, I don't even know if we'll get back to 2200. Right now, I will be surprised if we ever lose, you know, 4,000 for the next several years. So
Yeah.
I am very bullish. You know, even if we go into a Wyckoff distribution, this will take several years. So, you know, you want to continue to, there's going to be bad days in the market, there's going to be pull downs, but, you know, most of these are dip buying opportunities for the next, you know, few years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
I
yeah,
don't.
I don't know if this
Yeah.
ends at 5,700, or like you said, it has potential to that higher target. I
Yeah.
just, you know, when we make new highs, the market tends to need to digest them. And, you know, we can't ignore
Yeah.
that, you know, September, October does get some seasonal weakness at times. But,
Yeah.
you know, that being said, like, here's my SOXL chart for
Ooh.
the for the semis. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you can see we've got an inverse head and shoulder here, and we're building this really nice cup here. And if we start to get above this ribbon around, you know, 42.30, 43, then we could really pop. Or, you know, we may do a cup and then a little bit of a handle and then go. So this is what I'm talking about, is we may get, you know, a little bit of you know, say this like pops higher, and then we come back and make a little cup, drawing this right, off of it, and then go, you know, so kind of a cup, handle, pop. So that's something I'm watching. But I mean, when the semis are looking like this, it's hard to be bearish.
That's entirely logical, like the what you're saying. Usually at the right invert shoulder, like it doesn't just pop. Usually it does make a little bit of like a downward move before it goes up. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Unless it's SMCI, then it's going to 300s. No.
Oh, that has been the wildest, like, it's like a soap opera for stocks, you know, where you're like, where's it dropping today? Where's it going? And then it hit 420 on Friday. We put it in my Discord to 420, and I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you know, it was like 437, and I'm like, this is going to 420. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because it's a meme stock. It's gonna hit 420.
Yeah, I saw that.
And sure
Actually,
enough, it did. It was so funny.
I mean, yeah, it's right at the rising 20-month moving average too. Like that's where it basically found support at. So
Yeah. Yeah. What a day. Friday
it's
was a really interesting day.
it's nuts. Yeah. I said I wasn't going to share a chart, but I'm just going to do a couple here, kind of reiterate a few things that you guys were saying. I don't know if you guys can see my chart or not, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So on top is S&P 500, is SPX, at the bottom is IWM. I'm not going to spend too much time. I just want to talk a couple of things here. I do think that really since like the great financial crisis around 2008, 2009, I'm seeing kind of like three different cycles here between IWM and SPX. So usually what happens is like I see cycle number 1, 2, and 3, and we're starting in cycle 4, right? I see cycles number 1, 2, 3, and we're starting cycle 4, right? And this is the monthly Shimoku cloud. You can see like pretty much every single time. You can see that more clearly on IWM, and this is like a segue to talk about IWM, by the way. If you can see on IWM, pretty much every single time when the cycle starts, it goes back and touches the cloud, back tests the cloud, and then runs up, right? Back tests the cloud, runs up, back test the cloud, runs up. And right now we just had another back test of the cloud. And right now it's still actually kind of back testing the cloud right now, right? So I feel like the overall cycle might still be like early gear. I'm not sure. That's a part of the reason why I'm not sure whether or not 2025 is going to be like that bad of a year, because it looks like that might be where the meat of the IWM rally could be happening. If that's the case, sorry, if that's the case, I really have a hard time be like entirely too bearish on the S&P 500. Just looking at the cycle before, whenever it touched the cloud, S&P 500 always makes like a higher high, and whenever it does that, IWM always lags behind, right? And then whenever it does that, it kind of try to back test the level down here a little bit, and it does that for several months, and basically just consolidate for like several months. Same thing with IWM, right? But then eventually, when IWM pops and it makes the higher high, S&P 500 tends to be like more flat during that period of time whenever IWM just pops, right? So I feel like we're right around the cycle. We're still waiting for IWM to pop to get to the higher high compared to previous, and the S&P 500 might be flat, and then eventually get everything rallied that can last for like a year or two. The cycle after that, you can see the same thing, like S&P 500 had like a dip here, made a higher high here, right? But then it kind of went sideways. Sorry if it's a little bit small, but it kind of went sideways here a little bit when IWM also went sideways. Eventually IWM popped, and S&P 500 still like underperformed over here, right? So I feel like, and then after that, things just kind of run for another year or two, right? Same thing happened. I guess the COVID low kind of messed around with the cycles here a little bit. But the same thing happened. S&P 500 made a higher high, came back and back testing the stuff underneath. And next thing you know, IWM was just kind of getting ready, testing the cloud over here. And eventually it popped, make a higher high. And S&P 500 was still flat during that time. If you guys remember from like August to like February of 2020, 2021, NVIDIA was like completely flat for like months, when IWM just kind of went crazy. So I feel like we might be at this stage of the cycle where we're getting ready for the IWM, making its all-time high again. When S&P 500 is kind of got a little bit way overextended, probably just going to go sideways here a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's like a pretty normal rotation for things to kind of go in. But I'm just not sure. I can see volatility, but I'm just not sure whether or not like 2025 is going to be like a bad year based on what I'm seeing. If you also just like get rid of the IWM chart here, let me just get rid of that. I'm just going to focus more on the S&P 500. Usually, if you think about it in a sense like a ribbon, right? You have the Ichimoku cloud, you have the Tenkan, you have the Kijun, the blue line, the red line. Blue line is like the fast line, 9 period. The red line is like 26 is the slow period. You can see usually the bull trend, like you almost this looks almost like a ribbon, like when it expands, the bull trend is pretty powerful, right? Until it kind of starts contracting a little bit. Here it expands, and then until it starts to contract a little bit, right? I guess here is a little bit of a atypical thing during like the 2021, 2022. I guess the bull trend just got completely exhausted. Like it just didn't even touch the blue line here at all, right? Over here generally kind of gets close to the blue line and it kind of goes up, right? Here it gets kind of close to the blue line and kind of goes up, right? But whenever things just get a little bit too far extended from the blue line, it just gets completely exhausted and just plummeted in 2022, right? Here, what we're seeing really is more of like a expansion of like a Tenkan Kitchen ribbon, if you will, right? And price actually kind of came back down and got really close to the blue line. I'm actually extremely bullish because it did that. Initially, I was really worried that it was just way overextended, and if it doesn't come back and like get close to the blue line, like I worry about big giant plummeting, things like what happened in 2022, because it never really did that during this cycle. But in this current cycle, it's doing that, and the Tenkins and the Kitchen is like nicely separating, right? So I'm not sure whether or not 2025 is going to be a bad year because of that. It doesn't look too entirely exhausted because it's still following the Tenkan, and it still look like it's very very nicely expanded. A couple other things I want to show you too, like the Bollinger Band. It still looks like it's inside the Bollinger Band, right? I mean, you can see, yeah, maybe the trend is exhausting a little bit, but like it's probably still got some juice to go up. It's not like way overextended like it was over here, like it was over here, like it was over here. It's just it doesn't have that like overextension type feel to it. A lot of people might look at this candle over here, it's like hammer top, right? But I actually find like hammer tops to be not a very good top. You have plenty of like hammer looking tops here. I find like more gravestone tops to be like usually like a really bad top, but hammer tops usually means like continuation to me. One more thing. I know I'm going real fast here just because I feel like I want to like cover a lot of ground because I don't want to take a whole lot of time. But initially, I was worried about this RSI downtrend here on the monthly chart. I was worried about um, you're gonna hit the RSI trend line and you're gonna get rejected over here. Guess what happened so far? We peaked above of it. Initially, I worried that things are just overextended. We can probably maybe even go down a little bit further, right? But end up the month closing like way back above at like the top of the hammer over here, and we end up breaking above the RSI trend line. So that's one thing that I'm not really that worried about anymore. If you also look at the RSI trend line here too, like initially, whenever you have a cycle top, you have a little bit of bearish divergence with the RSI, right? You have a little bit of you hit a little bit of divergence over here with the RSI, right? With the previous cycle tops. And currently, we don't really have that. We don't really have like a bearish divergence here at all. So a lot of things are telling me I think 2025 is not going to be a bad year. That's kind of my case for that, I guess.
I actually have one last thing I wanted to share on my SPY, then we'll let RBB take over for the next one, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So I just wanted to show just really quickly why I think things are going to continue to just doing a trend-based fib from that low up there and then pulling it across. You can see that it's getting above the 786 right now and it's maintaining it. So I think it's going to just keep going up until like the 580s, maybe even the 610s right up there, right to the full one extension from that trend-based fib from the COVID low to the previous all-time high in January 2022. So I just think this is just additional confluence that things want to go higher.
Yeah, short term, I definitely agree. Like, but over the next year, 2025, I'm leaning more bullish just based on things that I'm seeing. But of course, of course, these things could be wrong, right? I mean, we have to keep monitoring things and see how it goes. But I see more of a rotation to IWM, which I guess we can talk about next if you like.
Yeah. So I'll stop sharing, and if RBB wants to go back on and share her chart.
Yeah, which is why I'm curious about like your thoughts on the Wyckoff, patterns, things like that. I'm kind of curious in terms of what you're seeing, but that's okay. Like, yeah. Anyway, we're all sharing thoughts. So
Well, we'll save that for another day when it's not Labor Day.
perfect.
Because I'm on a time schedule, so I got to get moving here. So this is my IWM chart. Right now, I think it's setting up for a really nice harmonic, where we just came and tested this ribbon and some moving day averages at 217.58, 218, and now we're getting a nice move up on IWM. I'm pulling up another chart. So it needs to hold. What IWM needs to do to continue this move is to get over that 220.5. So 220.5. It needs to break above that. It could, come back and kind of test this 219.33 and fill in, a little bit of this wick on this candle and then go. So that's, a couple of possibilities. But, it needs to get over 220.50 to start moving to, take over this all-time high. And you can see how many people were left up here. This wick's really bad. It didn't have a lot of body to it. So it trapped a lot of bulls when it was up here and then had, this drop, and now it's filling in these gaps. It filled this gap, it filled this gap. And now, it's rejecting near where that body of this big giant wick candle was. I can move it over so you can see that a little better. So now I'd like to see this structure hold, but if you're an IWM holder, you really want to see that 220.5 turn from resistance into support. And if it does, then, this could even extend and go higher and bigger. But I like IWM, but those are kind of the two things I'm watching for, either as a retest to fill in some of these wicks on the low volume days, or, to get over 220.5 and start to move up into the harmonic and fill out that wing. And, I've got a 0.618 line at 223.12. So that would be, my first target if it starts to hold those supports. Danny, did you want to talk about IWM too? Are you seeing something similar?
Yes. So actually, yeah. Matt, can you just we help we
Yeah.
can.
You want to
Please.
start with daily, or do you want to start at a different
Yes,
time
daily,
frame?
please.
Okay.
I do find some similarity between my chart and RBB's.
Okay. There we go. Daily chart, IWM, take it away.
Yeah, the daily chart. In panel one, you found that the red candle actually appeared probably 2 weeks ago. I think. Yeah, let me count the candles. Yeah, sort of probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think so far it has been an accurate indicator for me to time the bottom, and also you find a very strong resistance level in panel one. The blue bar, the horizontal blue bar, that gives me the number 222.5. That would be a strong resistance level on my daily chart. And Matt, can you just go on to the weekly chart? Yes, thanks. And can you please highlight the last red candle?
Red candle.
Red candle, yes. Yeah, and for this red candle to play out successfully, so actually there's a level which I have to keep an eye on, and that is 221.08. So that is very close to 220.5 mentioned by RBB. So, so I think, so yeah, so
I can see your 221.8 on my chart too. That would be the level if 220.5 holds. That would
Yeah.
be my next level to look for. So I
Okay.
know exactly what you're looking at, and I
Yeah.
I would just be front running it a little bit.
But so if just in case it closes below 212.05, so probably I mean the downtrend might come along on my weekly chart.
And you want to show the monthly next, or you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Here you go.
Yeah, and the monthly. Yeah, I think for the monthly chart, it looks very bullish because the last red candle is still in force, and that kind of ribbon gives me a feeling that probably we are just in the early innings of big trend. And if you check the previous red ribbon, actually uh, they were developing, they were unfolding as wide as possible. So probably we are just at the early stage. And I also like the last monthly candle, which it looks like a hammer candle, and it touched upon the upper boundary of the ribbon, and then it bounced up very fast. So probably the pullback, I think the pullback was over based on my monthly chart.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also everything looks fine in panel two, panel three. So we find a steady increase in well accumulation month by month. And yeah, and just RSI doesn't look pretty at the moment.
Yeah. And I have more confluence to both you and RBB as well with my numbers as well. So all right, if you're done, I can share mine, or you want to continue,
Yeah,
Danny?
please, yeah, that's
Okay.
please.
Okay, so let me just take off my again just to show you guys some things here. So when you pull up a fib, this is linear scale too, by the way, from the 2008 financial crisis, you can see that right here it's battling that 3.618, which is 221.48. So that's basically kind of in the middle between your two numbers there. And it's really, really important, right? You can see how perfect it's been, like that 2.618, that was a resistance, flipped to support, then it just took off, and now that's the last level before it wants to go to 250, really. That's what it's really looking like. And when I put back on my GAN, it's the arc right there too, the arc, which kind of predicted the last cycle top, right? Back in 2021. It got rejected there, and now it's getting rejected again at that arc. Even if you take off the fibs there, you can still see that it's rejection. And if you zoom in here a little bit, that is essentially next week, will be maybe at like 221.12 or something, around that number. So I think it really has a potential to maybe close next week above my arc and possibly even above that 3.618 fib as well, which is a really good thing. If that happens, then I can see it go to the next arc above. That would be around like the 238s or 237s or so. And that still would not be a new all-time high, so it could get rejected there before it wants to break out further. So that's what I'm seeing for the IWM.
All right, I'm busting in.
All right.
Here's my IWM chart, and I used to be really bearish on IWM until
But we converted you.
you converted me. You fixed my viewpoint here, and so here, look, this is a chart. I also took it from the 2008 and the 2008 Great Financial Crisis as the beginning of my IWM chart, and then this high. I'm looking at it. Wait, is this higher than that one? Anyway, these are almost the same height, but from here to the pandemic low forms my large degree 1-2, and this is the wave 3 sub 1 sub 2, and then this is all of wave 3 completing. And so yeah, just like you guys had, my 100% fib level off of this 1-2 is 228. I'm sorry, 222.84. So for me, that's the really important price line. That price needs to get back over 222.84, turn it to support, and before it can move on to 304.75, would be the 1618, which price likes to do when it does like a 382.236, but this did a little bit more. This is like a 50%. No, anyway, this did like a 50% most. Didn't quite hold. No, I'm sorry. It did like a 150%. 150%, 1618, and then it ends up 200%. No. It's too high. 100%. So, and then with a fibs distance between wave 1 start and the way this can actually come down a little bit farther. So yeah, I'm looking for, obviously it's not going to go there in a straight line, but these are monthly candlesticks, so maybe this is actually more like this and this. So yeah, I'm looking for 304.75, maybe by the end of 2025, and then a longer period where it retracts, and then doesn't get lower than 235, maybe 262, and then on up to 200% for 355. After that, for the larger degree wave 5 top, kind of to go along with the SPY SPX wave 5 top. That's what my fibs tell me to look for anyway. So, but confluence around the 222.84, and the next major fib is 254, 73, 289, then 304. So I hope we'll see all these tested on the way up.
I just want to share one thing here for like a minute.
Yeah.
And I think this is the chart really that that convinced Tracker on
Yeah, for sure.
This is the Russell 2000, the RUT over SPX ratio chart. And this is like a monthly chart. So it dates, I'm dating all the way back to the dot-com bubble. A lot of people think that the Russell 2000 has like always been just underperforming the large caps. Like small caps always like worse than large caps. That's not always the case. Really from like the dot-com bubble, like 1999 all the way to like even like 2012, 2013, Russell 2000 has actually outperformed the S&P 500. And that trend really has changed just over the last 10 years. The trend change happened on a monthly bearish divergence that had played out very well over like the last 10 years. And right now we have a bullish divergence that's building. And there, I see like y'all's chart, especially that Tracker's charts, really showing a lot of bullishness that runs all the way to like the next decade. I think it's entirely possible that the trend may be reversing, just because these things may go in cycles, So I think that there's a potential, like, for a small cap, which is kind of insane to kind of think about, but there's a potential for small caps to kind of outperform large caps maybe over the next 5 to 10 years. That's all I wanted to show.
Stay on that chart for a second. Go back to the .com bubble. Wait, go back. Bring the chart back.
Oh, you want me to go back? Okay, hang on.
Go back to that chart. So
Yeah.
think about it. The .com boom was the, the golden age, the invention of the internet, right?
Yeah.
So back to 2000, there's the invention of the internet.
Yeah.
And then the internet is what fuels all the small caps to grow. You get all these great cottage industries, a lot of growth.
Yeah.
And then some of the bigger players grow faster. And then they start to eat up all the small players. You get all the Microsoft and Amazon buyouts of everything.
Yeah.
And then the big caps become the Magnificent Seven. I mean, even Tesla was buying out companies for a little while there. And then, now you sort of have the age of, what do you say, like largesse or something.
I have an alternate theory. I don't want to take up too much time, but I have an alternate
I
theory.
love theories, please.
The theory is that I think from the dot-com bubble, like basically the large caps just got completely exhausted. Initially, I think back then, like the biggest company, like oil companies, things like that, they just got completely exhausted, just completely plummeted, right? And the money had to rotate somewhere. And next thing you know, they're rotating it to like financials, and they're rotating it to housing, which is what the IWM, like the Russell 2000, is more predominantly. So they're building another bubble from like the dot-com large cap bubbles from like Cisco and things like that. And they're piling all the money from large caps over their small caps to the financials, to the housing. And next thing you know, create a big giant bubble. And next thing you know, that went pop too. And that's kind of how I see, in terms of why the rotation happened. And that's kind of how I see what happened with, like, how come the dot-com bubble was followed by a great financial crisis, because they were creating another bubble at that time. They're also over leveraging at that time. But anyway, I don't want to take up too much RBB's time. I think she's quite close soon. So
it's always fun to talk about the
I know.
IG charts.
I know.
Okay. I'm just going to cover NVIDIA and Tesla quick, and then I'm going to leave, and you guys can maybe continue on with your thoughts on them.
That is totally
Okay.
cool.
Yeah,
Thanks, RBB.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to take up too much of your time.
Oh, no, I've really enjoyed watching all this. I wish I had more time. I love looking at everybody's perspective, so I really appreciate it. If I had more time today, it's just not an issue, so don't worry about it. But this is NVIDIA that I have pulled up. I'm seeing if this is a wave 4 pullback. So I need NVIDIA to hold 118 this week. That is the key level for NVIDIA, is 118 this week. You want to be calls above it, puts below it. I'm watching this trend line. We've got this channel here this is a 4-hour chart. It is, a downward channel, so you have to be cautious. But if we can get, back to 122, 123, then we break out of the channel. But right now, this 118 area is key. And it's kind of making a line. If I showed a different chart, you could see it more. And maybe I'll post my other chart later today on Twitter. But it's kind of coming down, and it's making a tighter triangle. So, something kind of like this is what the other chart is looking like. So we want to see it break up and not down. So for NVIDIA to have strength. And, it makes sense that NVIDIA has to hold for this market to climb higher, but it just did have earnings. So maybe, NVIDIA holds a little more steady, while the other semis get some relief, like maybe AMD, Broadcom earnings, Qualcomm, something along those lines. We'll have to see, but this is what I'm watching. This 118 on NVIDIA needs to bounce. I don't want to see it start losing, 118, or I have a 115 right here as a fib line. And, if you saw my posts when NVIDIA was selling off, I bought a lot at 115, and I've been selling it on these pops. So like that has been my line where I'm like, 115, give me your shares, I'll take them. And, I've made some good money there. But now I'm telling you, watch 118. That's going to be our next key here. So, and then we've got to watch this channel if we can get out of this channel. But I had a thought that NVIDIA is really tied to Bitcoin, because I mean, they're using all of the NVIDIA materials for the mining. Bitcoin is going through halving. Bitcoin probably won't be strong until, you know, October, because the halving usually goes over so many days. I want to say 150 or something. So, you know, Bitcoin being a little shaky is making NVIDIA a little shaky. So we may see this bigger push come, you know, later in the year. So, you know, though I've said that I thought there was too many calls on NVIDIA earnings, not to go short time calls. You know, if you're going to have calls, have leaps or have them January, have them out there. So, NVIDIA may just kind of chop a little bit. We'll have to see. Or if we can break out of this channel, then I'll get a lot more bullish. But I would like to see it, you know, come in and fill in some of this area around 124, 125. But 118 needs to continue to hold on NVIDIA. So that's my chart on it. If we start to lose some that 118, 115, then NVIDIA won't be as good a shape, and it may just need to rest. I mean, it's been holding up, but you know, if SPY and SPX are pushing, then it should have some green days, I would think. So that's my NVIDIA thought. And then Tesla.
That's excellent pinpoint analysis right there.
Yeah.
On NVIDIA,
Thank you.
thank you.
And then Tesla, I have this harmonic, and it came down and tested this gap, filled the gap. I bought a bunch of shares here at this, you know, 202.8, 203 area. I was buying from 204 to the 202s, and then got a really nice bounce on Friday, which I got to give some credit to my buddy Matthew there, calling that. He had some,
yeah.
yeah, he had some good targets on Friday, so good job. And so, you know, we just heard that they had good sales numbers in August. So I expect this to continue up. The one thing I'm watching is 225, 229 is a really key area. I have a 230 fib here. I wouldn't be surprised if it stops around that 225, makes another little handle and then goes. So, you know, something along those lines. And I have a 238 fib here. I have a gap at 234.5, 235. So I would think it either, you know, touches the gap or starts to go in it. I'll have to see. And then I think, you know, we may get a little bit of that September weakness and a little bit of a pullback, and then we can buy it for the robo-taxi event in October. But that's the harmonic that I'm watching. I originally had the harmonic higher, and then I just got thinking they want this to look good for that event. So I don't think they want to maybe pre-run it as far as some think, because I think Elon wants, you know, the stock looking good for that event. And if it goes too far too fast, then, you know, he won't have that. So those are just a few of my thoughts. But yeah, that 224, I can give you the exact ones here. Let's see. 224 to 229, 230 is what is going to become key on Tesla. And then holding 230 in the future is what we want to start to see. But this is where I have my harmonic. It could really go anywhere in this gap, and I'll continue to update it. But, you know, it had the bounce that I wanted, and that was in this gap fill. And now we're heading towards the next gap fill, as long as we can continue to, I want to see 216 held this week. I want to see Tesla hold 216 in order to get to the 225, 230 area. So anyway, those are my thoughts today. I've got to run, so I will listen to your thoughts on YouTube. But thank you
right.
so much for having me today.
Just real quick before you go, RBB, I just wanted to put this in your mind without any charts at all. I see these as like big sort of sell the news events, but it's gonna be October 10th for the cyber taxi event. I think price is gonna run up into it and then fall right after it, but it's not gonna have time to fall very long because then earnings is right after that on the 14th.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And I
Yeah, good
think
point.
maybe those earnings might that could send it up after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of have to see where it is by then, but because this is what I'm looking for, towards next week area.
I see
So,
it just like you see it too.
It's a beautiful
the 9th or
harmonic.
10th.
Yeah,
Thank
it's just
you.
yeah. I love your work. Love your personality. Love your work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate.
being here. You're
Thank
you're
you
Thank
so much.
you,
great.
RPP.
You're the
I
star of
appreciate
the
you.
show. All the viewers are gonna leave now. So
Yeah.
No,
We'll
stick
go down
around.
to 2.
Stick around, listen to these guys. They're my good friends, and we support each other, and I really appreciate that. And have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks,
Have a
RBB.
thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Enjoy your Labor Day.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Danny's
Bye-bye.
next.
Oh, Danny, go.
You
Yes.
start with NVIDIA, Danny?
Oh, yes, please.
We'll go to the daily chart as usual.
Yeah, and remember, just a few weeks ago, we talked about the dark hole, and I'm not sure whether Steve knows this new indicator or not.
The Hey Dong. Yes, there we go. All right. I think it's on daily chart NVIDIA.
And you find that the last yellow candle, which is still in force, and actually, there are two different resistance levels: 126.5, 121.3, and these are very huge resistance levels for NVIDIA. And the next one is 118, which RBB has just mentioned. So we have to see NVIDIA closing above 118. So if 118 is breached, then the next level would be 115. And 115 actually coincides with the lower boundary of the red ribbon in panel 1. Okay, so with this being said, it means that, okay, if 115 is breached, then probably the downtrend is formed. So we will find the blue ribbon once again. So actually, so below 118 and 115, and above the Friday close, that would be 121.3 and 126.5. So all these are the levels which we have to keep an eye on the daily chart. And can you just move down to the weekly chart, Matt?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So actually, we still have the red candle in force on the weekly charts. So sometimes people are just confused about the yellow candle on the daily chart and the red candle on the weekly chart because sort of the mixed signal, And in my explanation, something like this. So probably short-term bearish and mid-term bullish. So this is usually my reply to my followers when they see mixed signals on the daily chart and also on the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, so let me try to specify the price levels. So for NVIDIA to continue the bullish trend in the midterm, we need to see a weekly close above 130.75. Okay, so once again, that would be sort of the demanding level for the time being because NVIDIA is still having a pullback at the moment, but who knows? So probably there might be some catalysts, and for the red candle to be invalidated, so probably okay. So anyway, so on the daily chart first, yeah. So once again, we check out this important level, which is 115. And for the weekly charts, so I'm measuring the lower boundary of the red ribbon, so that would be, so hopefully NVIDIA won't go down to this level, which is 107 or 106. So probably, okay. So just forget it for the time being. So we just focus on the support and resistance levels or on the daily chart, which give us more clues. And on the monthly chart,
Yes,
monthly chart.
There we go.
Yeah, monthly chart looks very easy and very simple. Yellow candle, sell. Red candle, buy, buy, buy. And then you just buy, buy, buy. You just ride with the trend, and then you don't just make money. You create big wealth.
Yes.
So every cycle, when you see the red candle along with the blue ribbon, so probably that would be a very timely and perfect signal telling us that this is the bottom, or the bottom is over, and then you have to buy up. And so every dip you buy, and then you create your wealth. That's easy, you create your generational wealth. Yeah, and yeah, everything looks perfect, and I think there's still some room for NVIDIA to go in terms of the width and in terms of the width of the red ribbon, because based on the previous cycles, usually the red ribbon lasts for a certain period, and so I'm not sure whether that scan theory aligns with my chart. So I think we still have some more room to go for NVIDIA in terms of the length, in terms of the width of the red ribbon.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that then. Are you finished then, Danny?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to pull up my chart here, the linear scale chart. And yeah, weekly is still fine, but if you start looking on the daily and the 4-hour, they're just like more Ichimoku weakness above, so it's kind of got to get above that lower weakness, or like the upper weakness, I should say, around like the 123, kind of what RBB was saying too, right? And then up to the 124, 125. So I can see some temporary weakness, but still on the weekly chart, still looks fine. There's a lot of support down at 113 there, even at 110, 108, lots of support down there. So I think that is a possibility to go down there. And I know Tracker has got me addicted to the trend-based fibs here, so I'm just gonna show.
They're so beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna take off my GAN here and show you the trend-based fib from the low here back in 2018 to the high, and you can see that it's getting rejected at that 3618, like over and over again, really. So I think if it can't break above that 125 level, it's really a possibility to go back down to like the 110s or 108 or something around there, right? I think that could be a possibility. So I see 125 right there, a really, really big level. And still, I put back on my GAN, and it lines up with my green level 2, which is at like 121. So that's going to be a big resistance zone, I think, for maybe this week or even the week after. So it could just need some time to cool down, is what I'm seeing.
It feels like your red 2618 layer has just become a permanent support. I mean,
Yeah.
August 5th was just like they just dropped a atomic bomb on the market, and that's as bad as it got.
Yeah,
right?
that's a very good confirmation. Like a previous resistance, boom, confirmed support.
Yep. That's as
Yeah,
far,
so-
that's as low as it could go.
Yeah, so I don't think there's going to be any worry about that anytime soon. So if you missed that 93, then it's not going to go back there anytime soon.
Yeah, it took VIX to be like greater than 60 for everybody to freak out for that to happen. So yeah,
But I think it was like a necessary thing though, because now it's confirmed, right?
yeah, which makes you wonder whether or not it was premeditated by somebody.
Well, no, yeah, everything's pre-programmed, you know? All right, who's next? Or do I do Tesla now? Or do you want to do Tesla, Danny? Or do we go to other people that want to do NVIDIA first?
Let me see what my NVIDIA chart looks like before I don't want to waste your time if it's not red.
I still think that we might go sideways for another couple of months, to be honest. And then I still think that we're not going to make another 10x from here, probably another like 2, 3, or 4x, moving forward. And that might be the cycle top. I have a hard time seeing it going up that much higher. So
All I can say is my NVIDIA chart says it really wants to go to 141.75 next, $141.75 to retest that all-time high that we had earlier. And then it would probably consolidate again. And whatever level it holds up after that, then we could see it run on to 195.27. So it just needs to, it's going to hang out around here. Yeah, it's going to be stuck under the all-time high for a little bit. But once it can get over 141.75, then we can be talking about almost 200 for NVIDIA.
yeah, and it's
we can talk about Tesla now if you want.
yeah, maybe a little bit more like consolidation, because I guess we're still at like some resistance. But anyway,
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, NVIDIA, it hit the top of the Bollinger Band, and now it's just kind of hanging out and waiting for everything else to catch up.
yeah, I can totally see like small caps outperforming over the next 6 months, and like NVIDIA could be doing very little. I can totally see that too.
One concept that we don't talk about a lot, but at some point there will be widespread blockchain adoption. And you just have to start to think about what will that mean for all these stocks and miners and coins. At some point, like right now, we still speculate on the value of the coins, right? Based on what we think it could do in the future. But if they start actually using blockchain for real world applications, then they're going to have to go to like giant servers like the Amazon AWS, and NVIDIA is building out its own giant compute power servers, and Tesla's got right now probably the biggest compute power server farm in the world in Texas. And then they'll just keep building those, right? And so they'll still need to keep making more NVIDIA chips. And AMD will have a competing chip, obviously, for maybe lower demand stuff. That's not AI, but that's blockchain anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something I think about.
Yeah.
If we see wider spread blockchain adoption, that will be huge.
Yeah, if all the Tesla drivers have to get their ID verified through the Dogecoin network. No, I'm just but
Yeah, that'd be cool to talk to. We should get somebody who's more like blockchain technical, not blockchain financial technical, but just like talk about who's using what right now and who's talking about using what next.
No, if you guys know anybody, I think we can do a spaces to kind of talk a little bit more like the fundamentals, if you like. I think it'd be interesting. Do you guys want to talk about Tesla, or do you guys have time? Or
I mean, I would.
Yeah, I know you would.
It's my one thing.
You can go ahead and start.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
You're already starting to talk about it.
I know, right? Let's see.
When you guys set to keep it under an hour, it's not going to be under an hour.
Yeah, I know. We always it's an aspirational hour, right? Aspirational hour.
1 hour is boring, anyways. We need more.
Yeah. Well, they can watch the first hour, and then after that, it's just like stick around for the fun and games if they want. It's my larger version of the Tesla chart. Where's the one I just built? It's this one. I was messing around with this before the show. And I just rebuilt the whole thing from scratch once again. I love rebuilding from scratch to make sure I don't think I'm missing anything, but the fundamentally, the technicals are the same every time. Like one way I can do it is I can go back way back in history where, Tesla's price is practically $1, and then call this the wave 1 top and the wave 2 bottom, and do extensions that go up to 2000. This isn't that chart. I didn't do that one yet. I wanted to try to keep this a little closer to the present. So I said, well, what if let's do the chart where the wave start is the 101 low, the 299 high to the 138.80 low. And then that gives us this blue these blue Fibonacci extensions that take us from the 1, 2, large degree 1, 2, all of wave 3 takes us to retest the all-time high of 414.50. We get a 1.382 extension to 411.72. It just misses getting a higher high. So then it throws us into a wave 4 that retests this 336.28 level. Possibly no, that should be it, because this is the wave 1 top, and this should hold. Yeah, 336. I want to almost say it goes back to 308.99 just to freak everyone out, but let's just stick with 336 for now. And then the wave 5 tops us out at 609.20, and that's the larger degree. That's just if we use, this is the wave start, the 101 low, the 299.29 high, the 138.80 low, the 1, 2, 3 at 411, wave 4 at 336, and wave 5 at 609. And then I just subdivided that for everyone so you could see on the way to getting to 411.72 to retest the all-time high, which I think is going to be somewhere, I get a feeling it's going to be like April 22nd again, like it was, like this was April 22nd of 2024. This could be April 22nd of 2025. And so on the way there, we had, of course, 138.80 would be the wave start. And then this 272 high we had, or is it 271? Down to this 182 low. That's the 1, 2. And then so this is all the wave 3, which can be subdivided into 5 waves. It looks like maybe this is the 1, 2. Could just be an A, B that we've had so far, actually, where we went to the 228 high, to the 202.59 low we just had last week. That could be the 1, 2, and that takes us up to 314 next. And of course, this could be subdivided into 5 waves, but 314 back to 248. So this could be a really big tradable range right here. After we strike 314, I'll like sell my bullish position, and I might even go into the TSLZ, the 2x short position, for a little while, at least until 283. Then I might cool it and then just wait and see. Start buying on the way down, and try to catch a bottom here. But maybe it only pulls back to 263. But I'm calling 248 for now, and then on up to the wave 5 top would be right around here. This 382.89 for these kind of line up pretty well. It's a 150% fib extension on the smaller degree chart, but it's the right over here. It's the 1, 2, 3, 6 on the larger degree chart. So you can see how I nest these extensions in here, and you can keep nesting them if you want to try to resolve some more detail. Whenever I do, like I said, when I do, let me just draw this real quick. This 1, 2 might not be 1, 2Z enough, so we could actually see something that goes like 250 and it crashes back down to like 220. So this could just be an A, B, and this is the 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So it's interesting. You know how in school they teach you how to draw a circle by drawing a tangent, and then you draw like another degree tangent, and then like or you draw a square, right? And you just keep turning the square, and you turn the square enough times and plot all the points and makes a circle. Same idea here. If you just keep computing Fibonacci sequences, like impulsive waves, one after another, it should start to form something that resolves into, more and more detailed chart that gives you better ideas. But what I always do is I just obviously I update this with the latest real world information. So I'm constantly destroying these charts and then redrawing them again based on the most recent price action. But based on the recent price action, this is what I see. The major target we're looking for is 314.20 net. and then on to 382. And then on the way up there, 250, maybe 220 again, almost 300, back to 267 maybe, and then we break 300, and then it runs back down to retest support again. That's what I'm looking for Tesla, and I think as far as events and stuff go, yeah, here's the earnings on. I'm sorry, it's October 16th. I said October 14th, but it's actually October 16th is earnings, and October 10th is the robo. They want to call it cyber taxi, not robo taxi. Everyone calls it robo taxi though. The cyber taxi event. Yeah, I think I could go up into. No, maybe it says like that. Yeah, maybe we're like. Actually, it's just exactly like this. Maybe it goes. It's approaching 300 into the cyber taxi event, then it falls back down to retest. Like it falls into ahead of earnings, then earnings brings it up. That's what I'm looking for. That's my that's where I'm sticking to it.
So you don't think we're gonna get a Santa rally, huh? Yeah, we think the wave 4 is gonna happen. It's
well,
tough.
no, I'm sorry. This doesn't. This could be really sharp, actually. Whoops.
Yeah, so it's probably not. Yeah, you might think like
These
maybe a
aren't
little
really
more
drawn to
flush.
time scale.
Yeah,
This could be more like this.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry, I
so
wasn't paying attention. When I redrew this from scratch, I paid no attention to the time down here.
Yeah, yeah. No, so maybe like close above around 300 or above by the end of the year, potentially.
Yeah, definitely over 300 by the end of the year.
Yeah, with some volatility that's expected.
I think I could reach. I wanted to see 329, but this doesn't reach that high. But again, like I said, if this is just an AB and this is a 1-2,
yeah,
it could easily expand this extension, and not that extension. It would be a new extension.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So instead of this, oh gosh, right, wrong tool. Instead of this, which goes to 2382 to 317.91, if we got this was the 1, 2, then my 2382 goes all the way up to 392.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you see a bigger pullback after. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it just looks like even right now, in like around the 2 teens, it's still a good area to accumulate for a long term. I think like a lot of people are really just been freaking out over the last few weeks, right? I mean, I don't know. You probably hear a lot more about the sentiment in Tesla than anybody else, Tracker.
I do. People talk to me all the time about it.
Yeah.
Everyone's still worried that it's going to go to 150, like I was talking about earlier in the year.
Yeah, but you kind of change your mind. Yeah.
If it does what RBB said about, I think she was looking at the SPY pulling back. But even then, I thought about it. But we just had that August 5th stress test, and that didn't take Tesla price back to 150.
Yeah, we did.
So no, I think price is going to be like this. I think I showed you guys this at least twice now. But if anyone's watching this for the first time, back here between 2021 and 2020, 2022, right? Here between 2021 and late 2021, price was consolidating just like this.
Mm-hmm.
We had this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it started to break out right here.
Yeah.
No, right here, and then it went. Well, no, it broke out here, right here, went back into the triangle again, but it did not go to the bottom side. It just went out, tested back to it, and then absolutely took off. And what I did was I used my little fun ghost up the bars tools. No, not that one. Not ghost. What is it called?
That's like those are some ghost candles.
Ghost candles. This bars tool. And I copied the bars, and I pulled them all the way over. See, now we're in this bigger triangle. where it went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. It broke out right here at A. Then tested back into the triangle again. It didn't go to the bottom side, and it looks like now it's trying to get back on top again. And what if all of that, this looks like, well, it's this one right here.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah. I mean, I guess the impulse that you
exact move, and I just kind of recopied it here. And so you can see how that would easily take us to 364. Just if it
I
did.
guess the impulse that you had in June really changed your mind about the 150 move, right?
It did. Once we broke out, I knew I was going to get really bullish when it finally broke out of the top of the triangle here. And then I got really worried right on this candle here in July. But once we had that stress test on August 5th and 182 was the worst it could do, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Like
It's just a matter of how low it would get, right? Like
that's the worst it could do.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And it does seem like money's trying to rotate into things that have been kind of underperforming, like Tesla. Like it really does feel like that. This is like a beginning of anyway.
And it just doesn't make sense either. That I mean, you look at where Tesla was as a company in 2021, and it was worth, the market valued at 217, and then where was the company at in 2022, and they had like more factories, more output, more profits, more revenue, and the market's still valued at 217.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's just been 217 for 4 years.
Yeah, because I think it goes sideways with PE contraction, right? Like initially, I think it was really insane in terms of like the valuation, like it was in the triple digits, and now things are kind of going sideways, and now the valuation's back down to the double digits, but price stayed the same. It's
the
it's
market
de-risked.
valuation, I think, is grossly underestimating the future earnings potential for Tesla.
It's true. Yeah, it's
that's
true.
That's why I see it going higher and higher.
Yeah, but I guess they were pricing in like, compressing margin, things like that, like and even though there's a bunch of potential anyway, it's a cyclical stock, and I think the bear cycle was, really over. But I guess it's not everybody believes in it. I guess we do. So
I definitely do. It's like the market's been trying to suppress the story of Tesla this whole time. And shit posting about it, and just so they could just keep buying shares. Was it you that had like that really big the accumulation over time of institutional accumulation of Tesla shares?
Yeah, it really started
up,
around like December or like December 2022 or like January 2023, and price went to 100. Like the institution accumulation just like jumped like crazy up. So it's not going to show up here necessarily.
On your chart, it looked like this. It's like the institutions were buying.
Yeah, and it was more like exactly. And it's
more.
not necessarily going to show up on the MCDX plus, because a lot of times they might just buy over the counter. It's not going to affect the price. It's kind of crazy actually.
It's like we talked about on Saturday. The dark market.
If you do like the on balance volume, there's also a lot of discrepancy too. But anyway, it's I think it's going to be more bullish moving forward. I agree with your counts. It's more the devil's one in detail, but I think it's going up. Yeah,
it's my favorite company in the whole wide world. It's
Danny,
going to be. I believe, just like I was saying it before Elon ever posted about Tesla. One day will become the most valuable company in the world.
I think it's entirely possible, because there are a lot of things that are just not like anyway. Yeah.
And I don't mean like Apple valuation. I mean like 10 times Apple valuation, just like nuts. Like it'll just be far and away, larger than any other company.
Well, try to get Danny to convince to buy a Tesla again.
Danny,
you still there, man?
Yes, I need to borrow money from you, Kat.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I need to borrow your money and fame.
In fact, you don't even have to buy Tesla. You could just buy the TSLL 2x bullish.
Wow, that's
from now until it looks spiky again.
Matt, you still there too?
Yeah, I'm still here. Is it Danny's turn now?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, let's finish up the show with Danny's Tesla chart and your chart, and then we'll probably call it a day. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been real,
Yeah.
been fun,
Yeah.
real fun. All right, Danny, daily chart Tesla, boom, here you go.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I just remember what RBB has mentioned, a very important price level for Tesla, that is 216. So if you check out my yellow candle, in panel one, the yellow candle. So actually, for the yellow candle to be engulfed, we need a daily close above 215.66. So this is very close to what she has mentioned, a very important level that Tesla has to go beyond 216. And also in panel one on the daily chart, you will find that the red ribbon is information. So it's so not yet formed, because the yellow candle hasn't been engulfed for the time being. But we can see some positive signs like an increase in well accumulation last Friday, and MACD RSI they are curling up a little bit. So these are some of the early signals telling us that probably our Tesla is bottoming out. But still, we have to await the final confirmation from the red candle. And Matt, can you just go on to the weekly chart of Tesla?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, thanks. And you find a very important resistance level, which lies in 220.32 in panel one. And you find that the weekly candles actually, some candles have actually touched upon this level, but they fail to close above it. So, so we want to see a weekly candle closing above 220.32 first. And for the last yellow candle to be engulfed, we need to really close above 234.68. So, there are many tiny resistance levels for Tesla. So 216 first, 220.32, and then 234, and so forth. But if you check out the monthly chart, in the long term, the red candle is still in force. However, so the level, the price level has changed. So for that red candle to play out more successfully, or for the long term bullish trend to continue, we need a monthly close above $271.
Very
And
good, Danny.
yeah, thanks a lot. So I can't help laughing.
No, go ahead. You can continue.
Yeah, no, above 271 would give us a new higher high.
It would.
Yes,
And
yes.
confirmation of a new bullish trend. Yes.
Yeah, 271 is a very important level. And of course, we have to talk about the level which is going to be invalidated. And if we see a monthly close below 200.85, hopefully not. And that will be the start of a long-term downtrend.
Yeah, if we had a monthly candle close below 200, I would be very, very
I would cry.
Yeah,
I would go on.
I
I would go on my morning show and just start crying, and that would be it. That'd be it.
But I don't know. From my daily charts to monthly charts, so actually my panel highlights this very important level, $220.32. This is quite unusual. If I just analyze other tickets, I don't know why this level keeps showing up across all charts.
That is true.
Yeah, it's because it's a huge confluent level there.
Yeah.
And 300 looks like a very, very strong resistance level on the monthly chart.
Yeah.
And probably it's just a matter of time,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I can show my chart real quick.
Yes, please.
Left that chart.
We'll start off with this linear scale again, and I went over this on my weekly recap video, and yeah, I want it to stay above this arc now. I don't want it to go any more below it, and that's essentially around current levels. Like it's gonna, if it opens up tomorrow, it'll be above the arc, right? If it opens up around current price, which is good. And if you go straight up there, guess what? 230 is the blue angle. So that's more resistance up above, right? And that is obvious when you look in the past, a lot of resistance in the past with that blue angle. So this is the zone that I really want to break out of. I want it to get above 230 and start going up. And like you said, 270, that candle right there was 271 at the top. But it's still, the body of the candle still has not made a higher high from this 265. So yeah, essentially once it has a weekly candle close above this 265, I think that'll be the confirmation needed that this is now no longer a bearish chart because it'll be its first higher high in a long time, right? It's never done that before since the all-time high, right? Never, never, never. So a first higher high on a weekly chart from previous highs, that's amazing. So we'll see if that can happen. But first things first, it's got to get back above 230. So this range, I think there's just going to be a lot of resistance in this range.
Yes.
And we'll see if it can get above. But at least I want this arc to start holding as a support. And that's step one. And if that can maintain over the weeks to come, then I think it will eventually get back above that. And going back to the trend-based fibs here on Tesla, I do like how this is developing because that 236 is holding very well. And then the next step is that 256 level. You can see where it got rejected in the past, right? Why it never really closed a weekly candle above that 382, 256 level.
Yep.
And this is from the, which low is that? Yeah, from this low right here, back in 2019 to the top, right? That's the trend-based fib from that level. And yeah, so it's just stuck in the middle of a range, but it's basically confirmation that 236 held because even though that candle opened below it, it still closed back above it right there, that scary month or scary August 5th week right there, closed back above. So yeah, it's just still stuck in this wide range on this fib retracement as well. And I think if it can ever get back above that, 256 level right there, then I think it has the potential to finally close candles above that 270. So that's really the line in the sand for me that I'm watching now is that 256 level. If there's a weekly candle close above it now, then it'll go higher and higher. So essentially it's just a waiting game for me, but it is developing more and more bullish week after week after week. So as long as it doesn't go below 200, like Danny said, I think it's clear skies ahead.
Yeah, you've heard me talk about how sometimes it feels like Tesla consolidates down in 5 waves and then corrects up in 3 waves. One of the ways it does that is sometimes it'll go to the 382, then the 236, and then it pops up to the 100%. So it's like it makes the A wave at the 382, the B wave at the 236, and the C wave ends up at your 100%, like the 50489 you've got up there. So just look out for that. That's what makes it look like it just goes bananas sometimes. Like
Bananas.
Bananas.
Let's see if it can break the 382 and just go to 10 million, right?
I know, right?
In a straight line, yeah.
Yep.
To give you all some additional confluence in terms of what we're seeing, we did and Matt has been very vigilant about watching this too. We closed about the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly, which is a very positive development, even with the stress test back testing the Tenkan indication underneath of it. So right now the key level, I mean like next month's going to open, right? Where's the top of the cloud right now in the 270s? To be precise, is 274. And in a month after that, it's going to be 278, 278.75. So those are pretty important levels to kind of reach. If we really break above to the top of the cloud, then I mean, like there's really not, maybe 300 could be like a good horizontal resistance level, but really talking about like you break above the 270s, I think, it's a pretty good confirmation that Tesla's going to be doing pretty well in terms of why you're having some resistance here.
Maybe we'll see a monthly
also,
katana.
Yeah, monthly. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Actually, I'm not sure if it breaks above this high over here, If it breaks above 300, then you really have good katana if that happens over the next few months. But I'm not sure quite just yet. The 2 week chart, you're still underneath resistance at the bottom of the cloud, right? You can see how Tesla's just really been following resistance for the 2 week
Yeah.
chart for a very, very long time. You know, resistance, 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 resistance. And right now we're underneath resistance again. And resistance level for next week is going to be at the bottom of the cloud over here, which is going to be 209, I guess, you know, somewhere around there. So I can see it probably end up grabbing up towards that. Where's the top of the Ichimoku cloud? 258, right? So I can see a lot of very similar levels that you're talking about, Matt. You know, just and also on the weekly cloud here, where's the top of the weekly Ichimoku cloud, like 226, right? So there's a lot of confluence in terms of levels that you guys are talking about. I think Tenkin's going to be around like, yeah, around like 226, somewhere around there too. So a lot of confluence that you guys are talking about. Still underneath resistance, but we're also getting some pretty decent support underneath. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I still think that overall we just made a higher high and higher low. I'm not sure if you can call this a higher high if you don't count the wick, but I would, you know, like this candle over here is higher than that one over there, right? So technically it's a higher high. We just place a higher low for the stress test. I think we're gonna go up higher. Just a
When I do
matter of
my
time.
you know, my
Yeah.
Fibonacci extensions, I count all the wicks.
Yeah.
The
And I think
candle
like
bodies are really good for the Ichimokus and whatnot. But
yeah. I mean Ichimokus, they count the wicks too. Like they count the absolute highs and absolute lows, so it still
yeah.
matters. So
But like the way you analyze them, you like to look at where the bodies close. And but for my Fibonacci analysis, you know, all it has to do is touch that fib level when it's done.
yeah.
Sometimes it wants to hang around there some, but by and large, I'm
Yeah.
not surprised to see something just wick up to a fib level and pull right back away from it and immediately head for the next fib.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see all these kind of confluence in terms of levels. I do agree, like 200, 220s, 250s, and 270s. Like those are pretty important levels to kind of watch out for. So yeah, great session, guys. We kept it under 2 hours. That's good.
It was an exciting Friday close. I mean, like I don't. This is the first time I got to talk with you and Matt about it, but just like, you know, Matt and I were going back and forth on X, just like talking about Matt saying, you know, you just have to sometimes you just have to visualize, you know, the what you want
Speak it
to
into
see in the
existence.
world.
Yes.
Speak it into existence. That's right. They said
Yeah.
I want to close a weekly candle close and a monthly candle close over 213 and some change, and
Yeah,
that's
well,
exactly what we got.
yeah, just needed it. Like, I mean, for a really considered bullish monthly candle close, that's what it needed, and sure enough, that's what it had. So,
Yeah.
It
There's
could,
a
it could
lot of
only
there's a lot of buying pressure for Tesla behind the scenes for sure. But anyway, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of my followers likes to talk about, you know, you can only hold that beach ball under the water for so long before it has to pop up.
that's true. That is very true. But yeah, I mean, it's not getting more bearish this chart. It's just getting more bullish. So,
Yeah.
whoever thinks it's ready to collapse, it's not saying that right now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still under the assumption, I'm still skeptical about the whole like September is going to be super bearish thing because everybody's talking about it, but we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, if you just look at the SPY, it looks like at least the beginning of the weeks could be bullish. But you never know. Like market makers could push it back down to support first before it goes back up. So who knows?
Retail's always nervous about the month of September.
Well, the retail never buys when the whales are buying. That's proof. So.
Yeah, and
So-
if they really have like sold in May and went away, I think they would have missed like a pretty big gain in SPY, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway. Great session. Do you guys want to skip tomorrow night since we have a 2 hour session
Sure,
today already?
I'm okay
yeah,
with
well,
that.
I don't think we need to. I don't think much is
Yeah.
going to change. We basically covered what we're going to cover. So
Yeah, I think so. And Danny's been a great sport, kind of sticking around. We'll let you go to bed, man.
And thanks, Danny.
Danny's
Yes, I'm
already
here.
sleeping.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
I'd say if something amazing happens in the markets between now and next Tuesday, we might convene an emergency show. But other than that, we could just do next Tuesday, not tomorrow, next Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't think we can
Yeah.
top today's show with the great guests that we had. So
I know.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming on a holiday, and thank
Thanks
you all
again,
for
Real Blonde Broker and Danny, for being part of the
Yeah.
Pentavirate.
Pentavirate. That's what we're gonna call it now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks for
So
joining.
have a
Thanks.
good day.